And at that point, you have cocktail hour. And there could be a myriad of things happening at this time. If we've done a first look, ideally, most of your photos are already done. That is the part of the point of doing a first look.
Yep.
But I typically recommend, and you can give your opinion on this, of doing the extended family photos after the ceremony, regardless, even if you are doing a first look. Like if you have a lot of large aunties with iPads and things like that coming in, grandparents, maybe there's kids. We want to limit the amount of time that we're dealing with kids. They're not there super early. So even if we've gotten done all of our other photos, I usually recommend that we have 15 minutes or so of those extended family photos after.
Yes. And so typically also have the efficient kind of delegate and say once everyone has walked down the aisle of, because it's very important for time purposes, for the timeline to still consistently work, and you're having the extended family. Thank you everybody for joining. This is cocktail hours over here on the right-hand side. Immediate and extended family, please stay local so that we can take a group picture in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Go use the bathroom, but come right back.
Yeah.
That way, the couple has had their few minutes to themselves. They come back. Guess what? We can take now photo, video. We have the printed out list, or it's on our phone. This is the photos and the video moments that we need to knock out real quick. Once that's done, guess what? Now we can go take photos of just you two.
Right. Or you guys can go to cocktail hour and enjoy.
I fucking love it when couples go to cocktail hour.
To me, that's the biggest advantage of doing a first look is like,
go hang out.
Your wedding is probably only 6 hours long total, like as far as ceremony to the end. And so to miss a whole hour of that taking photos, like that's a pretty big chunk, right? So I think it's great. Like cocktail hour to me is like the most fun part too. I want snacks. I want drinks. It's fun. I'm mingling. I'm hopping around. So yeah, I think couples really are wanting to be a part of that now. If you have to do photos at that point because you're not doing a first look or whatever, fine. But I think that's a huge advantage. So I totally agree with you. I think make that family photo time as organized as possible. When I'm working with couples to create timelines, I really put this big emphasis on that, just like how I do with feeding them lunch earlier. It might seem like a small detail of the day,
but it makes a big impact.
Again, I have seen so many couples like in tears because it's like, fuck, like my grandma's over here and I can't get, like my dad's drunk. I can't get him over here, whatever. Like, let's create a really detailed shot list. Let's make a good plan of where family is going to meet post-ceremony. Like you said, have the officiant make an announcement. Whatever it is, make a solid plan for that.
Yes, 100%. And I think too, for photo video perspective, I think if that team can be efficient with the time with the couple, because I'm not going to lie. If someone said, oh, we have 45 minutes, I'm going to be like, sweet, sounds great. But there's also a part of me is like, I know I don't need 45 minutes with you. I really don't. You know, I think I would be happy with 15 to 20 minutes of just portrait session. Then go to cocktail hour. Go have fun. Go be with the people that you invited, because it's hard to have the conversation when the music is blasting in your fucking ear. They're also hungry, so even before then, everyone's eating. You know what I mean? So there's not a lot of opportunities to have the one-on-ones with all the people that you invited to your fucking wedding. So exactly. If you take up all that hour to take portrait session photos, sure, you might get some amazing banger photos. But if you're hiring professionals, we should be able to get it done in 15, 20 minutes.
I totally agree.
I genuinely, and some videographers might hate me for this, but I honestly don't think we need more than 20 minutes.
What are you doing for an hour?
Honestly. And especially if you had a first look. Use that opportunity right after first look to go take portrait photos of just you two.
Yeah. I love that. And I think it's really important to note, because I will have a lot of couples come to me and like, I ask them a question like, are you going to join cocktail hour? And they're like, wait, can I? Yeah. Like there wasn't even a thought that they thought that was a possibility. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Let's make sure you do attend cocktail hour. Let's work it out. So
fuck the cake cutting, go to cocktail hour. Weddings uncensored.
Absolutely. I love that. No, I think that that's really important. And I mean, let's be honest, so much of our timeline really does revolve around photos, right? Because like weddings these days are not about love or happiness. They're about good photos and Instagram.
The clout.
So remember that when you're building your timeline. That was sarcasm. So yes, we want to enjoy everybody. We want to enjoy their day. So cocktail hour is happening. It's fabulous. Our guitarist is playing. There's a charcuterie.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh my God. We love that.
We love the open, multiple bars open so that
Lots
the
of
bar isn't being flooded with
signature cocktails.
Yes.
People are vibing. There's like groovy music happening.
Yeah. Well, you got DJ Jack Farmer in the background. He's just, just killing it in the background.
Oh, shout out to DJ Jack Farmer.
Shout out.
Okay, so cocktail hour is wrapping up, and now we are going to move into kind of the main reception time of the day.
Yep.
So maybe this is in a different area, but normally then we're opening up a certain area for there's dining tables,
We'll
right?
say 6:30. We forgot times in the timeline, so I'm just gonna put out a number and say
We said cocktail hour
6:30.
was at 6, so now it's 7.
7.
Yeah, now it's 7.
Just know people are fucking hungry right now.
People are hungry.
People are hungry.
Yeah. So, and there's a lot of different ways. So now we're going to get into like reception traditions and what you want to do. Maybe you want to do a grand entrance. Maybe you want to do toast. Maybe you want to do all the things. I want to cut the cake, despite what Kaiel says. I want to do a bouquet. Great.
Do what you want.
We can work with all that in, and there's a lot of different ways that can flow the most organically. So I encourage you to talk to your planner, talk to your photographer, and think specifically about your venue and the way we're kind of shifting guests around to make it feel really organic.
Yeah.
Because that is just like the end of the day, it's your guest experience that should be super important here, right? Like you don't want them to feel rushed, and you don't want them to feel like they're sitting there for so fucking long that they're like, "Can we get up and dance already?" And you don't want to make them miss something because there was no announcement. And like this is why reception timeline is so important.
Yes, 100%. And I will say, just to add about people being hungry, hopefully they're actually not that hungry because there's snacks being provided to hold them over a little bit. Ample snacks. All of the snacks, please.
The theme of today's episode is actually ample snacks. It's not timeline.
Don't forget about to eat. You got to eat your breakfast. You have a lunch. You need snacks. You need snacks. Okay.
Yes. So they're moving on to dinner. And for that reason that people are hungry and at that point usually ready to kind of like sit down and everything, I do recommend that we kind of get right into dinner. So we're having people find their seats at that point. So it's 7:00. I build in 15 minutes for people to find their seats. I think people don't do that sometimes with timelines, and they're like 7, grand entrance 7. Like, no, it takes people a while to find their name on the seating chart, go find their table, get settled.
They were in line at the bar, and they're not going to leave the line that they were just in because they sat at the bar waiting in line for the bar for 10 minutes. So they're not just going to go find their seat.
Right. So now it's 7:15, and if you are choosing to have a grand entrance, that would typically happen at that time. Maybe it's the whole wedding party. Maybe it's just you. Maybe it's a litty titty grand entrance with, our MC
Mitchell de Guzman. Let's get it.
And he's getting the whole crowd riled up. Or maybe it's just
DJ Jack Farmer's playing. Yeah.
Maybe it's just a very simple kind of like walk in. Regardless, you enter somehow the room.
Yes.
And then for me, what I usually ask couples at this part is how many toasts or speeches do you anticipate having? And the reason I ask that is because you can have as many as you want within reason. But I don't like to do more than 3 in a row.
Yes.
So for me, if it's going to be like groom's parents, bride's parents, talking plus maid of honor, plus best man, maybe the couple wants to say something, whatever. Now we're getting into kind of a lot. Yeah. So we just want to like break those up. So I would say with, 80% of my timelines, the parents usually will say something and then some wedding party members will say something. And I think an organic way to structure that in the timeline is to do grand entrance and then maybe have a welcome toast from a parent, from maybe both sides of the family. Maybe that's a sibling. Maybe you don't have parents. Maybe it's a grandparent, whatever. And then getting right into dinner.
Yeah.
Again, we don't want to wait too long.
Is after the grand entrance, I will say most of the time you will have your first dance right after your grand entrance, correct?
Well, this
most
is
of the time.
Hashtag controversy because I don't
kind of like first lick.
I don't like it that way. I think it's weird.
Okay.
I personally like to structure all the dances at dance time.
Sure.
But you're right. It's like maybe 50-50. Some people will like to do their grand entrance into their first dance because it just gets it out of the way. I hear that a lot. We're nervous about it. We just want to get it done. And that way we can just like sit down and enjoy dinner and start like chugging cocktails or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that that's valid. But I think what you also need to think about is how your venue is set up.
Okay.
So, for example, is dinner in one area and dancing in another area?
Evel is
like the
that.
Evel, which we're kind of using as our example.
Yeah.
If people are all sitting like then the dance doesn't make sense there. So then are we gathering people over here for grand entrance first dance and then having them sit?
Yeah.
Whatever. This is like slightly granular, but do think about that. There's a lot
to consider. Is where is everything happening?
Yeah.
Just know where stuff is being located, because if it takes 15 minutes for them to find their seat, don't do the first dance right after the grand entrance. Save it for people who have sat down, they've ate, and now we can do dances and speeches.
Exactly. And I think when we're structuring our timeline too, we're thinking again about guest experience and what makes the most sense. Like we're almost attracting people's attention over here and then attracting people's attention over here, right? So when it's dancing time, it's dancing time. We want people to be their attention both physically and mentally to be on the dance floor, because then they're going to get up and they're going to dance. So makes sense. Me, I mean, I think it's whatever. If you want to get done your first dance, get it out of the way, great.
Go for
but
it.
Then there better be another way that we're transitioning people to the dance floor later. With parent dances or something else. So, So yes, you're not wrong. That probably 50,
I would be
50.
wrong for E-Bell. I would say E-Bell would be most efficient.
Yeah,
to
you
save
can do
the
it other
dance
ways,
later.
but yeah.
Or maybe not E-Bell if seating is far away from where dancing is. I think a good rule of thumb would be to save it for other dances are also happening. Okay. No, I like that.
So we've done a grand entrance, we've done welcome toast, and now we're having dinner.
Love it.
Dinner is something to consider with your timeline. Different styles of dinner service are going to be different lengths, right?
If it's like a
buffet versus a multi-course plated meal versus family style, they're all a little bit different. So talk to your caterer at that point. I come from like a hospitality catering background, so I am very empathetic to catering and making sure that these 150 people get fed their fucking chicken hot and on time, right? It really screws up not just your guests because they're hungry, but also this whole team of, people. So once dinner's served, the timeline can get a little more loosey-goosey. Like everything can go a little bit more with the flow. But we need to stay on time up until that hot dinner service, because it really can fuck up everything else.
No, for sure. And I think too, for vendors, specifically your photo video, please make sure we also have time to eat, because we have been with you since at least one. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if we're not sitting down for dinner until 7:15-ish, that's a long time to be on and working and not having really a moment to have a snack or a break, because we're constantly doing something. So when you are eating, photo, video, most of your vendors should also be eating.
And that's something that a lot of couples don't even realize is vendor meals or the idea of giving somebody a break.
Exactly.
It's a very kind thing to do.
Yes.
And usually the time when everyone else is eating is really the best time. That's the only time there's not really like a lot happening to capture. Like you don't really want that many photos of like grandma eating. Yeah.
I don't want any photos of people eating.
No. It's really not that cute. It's really not that cute. Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. So if you're having the length of dinner will really depend a lot on the style of service and also how many guests you have, right?
Yep.
A buffet for 50 people versus a buffet for 200 people, is like so different. So I won't quote numbers too much, but you can safely bet that dinner is going to be an hour no matter what.
Yes.
If you're having a 3-course plated meal, 90 minutes, possibly up to 2 hours. And I, again, like to talk about this early because maybe that makes a huge difference for your timeline of the day.
Yeah.
At the Evel, our hypothetical place, dinner's so much faster when you do a buffet. And if you want to maximize the amount of dancing and party time, then you should probably go with that style of service.
Yeah.
If you don't really care that much and like a nice meal is like way more important to you than the, sweaty dance party, then do that. But think about that because it's going to cut into your party time regardless, whatever this dinner service is.
Yep. And these are also great things to consider too of how long have you booked photo and video for? Because if you book them for 8 hours and we're
creeping up. We're creeping up on that time
at the end. Yep. So you may not, unfortunately, there's been plenty of weddings where they book me for 8 and they think that's long enough and they don't want to add any more time even on the day of.
Yeah.
And I don't have any dancing footage.
Yeah.
Zero. Yeah. None. I've got your first dance, I've got your mother, son, father, daughter, the formal stuff.
But we're not there for party time.
Litty titty doesn't exist in your highlight video. So
things might have gotten really litty titty. You're gonna want to see that later on. Yeah. So again, I'll say it 60 million times here. Like, this is why we talk about this stuff early.
Yes.
Talk to your caterer. How long is dinner service going to take? Ask them, you know, talk to photo video. How long are these portraits going to take? Like, all of that stuff is so important.
Yeah.
But yeah, so dinner's happening. We are allowing vendors to have a moment to sit. You will need to, you know, feed them at some point. It's usually in your vendor's contract, but that is something to consider. The only other thing I guess I'll say about dinner service or other things that happen at that time is, again, noting when sunset is. I will have sometimes photographers steal couples like in the middle of dinner because it happens to be when sunset is, and everybody loves one of those like glowy, you know, gorgeous moments where you're just kind of sneaking out into the courtyard.
Orange sunset, clouds are there, and it's beautiful. Yes, for sure.
So I do
100%.
like to note on the timeline whenever sunset is that day, just include it on your
like
timeline.
10 minutes, you know, even if it's just quick 10
can be
minutes
nice.
to just ditch and then come back and go finish.
And again, if you don't care, then you don't care. But usually we're building stuff upon when sunset is.
Yep.
So dinner's happening. It's great. Now we're all full. As dinner is wrapping up, I like to start those second set of toasts. So, you know, maybe parents spoke earlier and now it's wedding party or whatever. But we're kind of doing those as dinner is wrapping up. By the nature of feeding a large group of people, some people are done eating, some people are still eating, whatever. So I recommend that you start that even as dinner's still kind of happening. Yeah. Just because, again, now we're not like, why are we all sitting here for so long? Yes. Like, now we're so anxious. We want to get up and dance. We want to whatever. So cueing that to kind of get going is really important.
I think also having your DJ know how long dinner is, of like, hey, dinner is going to be probably around 90 minutes. Yeah. That last 30 minutes, we really would want you to like play some music that they can all move around to, and they're really enjoying it. Because I've had some
kind of start cranking up the energy a little bit.
Yeah, because I've had some tables get really fun and they get really crazy and they all start singing, but they're at the table, so they're still having a great time. Yeah. The couple's still able to eat, but then you've got your guests just, I don't know, singing any kind of like old song, new song, whatever it might be, but just increasing the volume a little bit that last half of dinner, so people can kind of get
cranking
excited.
The energy. We're getting almost litty.
Almost titty. Litty titty. Almost.
Just litty, not titty. Cool. So then toasts are wrapping up, dinner's wrapping up, and typically at that point we're moving into dances.
Yes, and for your toast, I would highly recommend 5 minutes or less per person.
Yes.
Do just preface it with each person that you want to speak. Hey, we want to make sure that we're all having fun and we're having a great time. We're super excited to have you speak. Please keep it to 5 minutes, or keep it in that range, because
they're probably still going to go longer. But if you tell them 5 minutes, then it will.
They're
wrap
aware
up.
of it. Yeah,
I like to tell people this is a toast, not a speech.
Yes,
because if you say speech, there's something in that, right? That's like, I need to talk about our second grade graduation and everything. Like, no, this is a quick toast, and then we're moving on. I agree. So we're moving on to dances, but I will kind of insert here, and this is my own coordination timeline thing with cake cuttings.
Okay. Ooh, cake cuttings.
We clearly here at Weddings Uncensored don't like a cake cutting, but I will vouch for people who still want to include it in their day. My beef is just like, there's never a good time to do it. It's always a little awkward. Nobody really cares. So I recommend that if you are going to do it and you really, want it to be a part of your day, to do it before dancing starts. Like, don't break into dancing for cake cutting. Yeah. I petition to do toasts, knock out that cake cutting in the 3 minutes as we're transitioning people to the dance floor before you do your first dance or your parent dances. Yeah. You're really just doing it for a quick photo, kind of get it done.
It's a formality.
You're getting it done and then it's out of the way. And that way, once dancing starts, your coordinator and your photographer and anyone else is bugging you about like, now we got to go do this. Now we got to go do this. Like, now you're really able to just relax and enjoy your party. So, more traditionally, or some people will tell you to like do the cake cutting an hour or so into dancing.
Fuck that.
Yeah. If you're going to do it at all, just knock it out early so it's done. I just go bang, bang, bang with all the traditions, toast, so we can get it done. But now we're moving on. We're doing a first dance. If you are going to do a first dance, usually it's first. And then it would be parent dances. And maybe there's a money dance. Maybe there's so many other cultural different traditions that you can include.
I will say for the money dance, keep it to 3 songs. keep it to 3, maybe 4 songs, because the line will keep going. But if people, and just make it quick.
Yeah. Money dances, horas. There's like a lot of, I mean, I love all those fun dances. I think that they can be really cool, but I look at it timeline wise again about getting guests' attention and when to sort of like utilize that, right? So maybe you do your hora first because we're like opening up the dance floor and it gets like the party started because it forces everybody on there. Or maybe you're doing it like halfway into dancing because as the dance floor kind of clears out, just that's naturally what happens. We're bringing people back in, right? So kind of talk to your DJ a little bit about that and be like, what do you think would flow the most organically?
Or the entertainers,
or band or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then also making sure, because our hours with our photo video team, if you do have those traditions that we will need to knock them all out before you lose your photo video team.
Yes.
So if you want your hora or your money dance or your bouquet toss.
Or just dancing.
Yeah. Make sure that that's all included in the timeline before your contract runs out for your photo video. So we're dancing for a while. We're probably breaking into it for, I mean, if we are going to break into dancing for anything, it would be bouquet or garter toss.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I don't like to break into dancing for anything else.
Yeah.
And the reason that's okay to break into is because we're still keeping people on the dance floor, right? So again, we don't want to take anybody's attention away once it's there.
Yeah.
That's why we knocked out your cake cutting. That's why we got everything else done. A bouquet and garter tosses to me are super cringy. They're not my favorite thing. I would file them in the same department as cake cutting.
Okay, I only like them if the bride and the groom are also super excited about it. Because I, have the couple sometimes where they worked with the DJ and they play, the groom plays, I don't know, Pony, right?
Yeah.
But then he rewinds and a different like crazy sexy song comes on and everyone loses their mind and the groom's really into it.
Yeah.
Like
no, it can be really fun. You're totally right.
Awesome. But if I'm just saying, if you're gonna have it, be fully committed. If you're questioning it, just don't even do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that is the rule of thumb for all of these traditions. If you're like,
if you're questioning a wedding, don't.
That's also true. That's also true. But yeah, I think that's really good. Like, don't do it just to do it.
Yes.
Do it if you really want to. Because yes, when couples are into it, oh my God, it can be so cute. It can be super fun. But otherwise, it can be real cringy.
Yes.
We don't like that. We want anti-cringe here at Wedding
Fun Concert. Stop playing Single Ladies, please. Maybe play like Move Bitch from Ludacris. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Was that Move Bitch? I know what you're talking about.
Get out the way, bitch. Get out the way.
Okay. Petition for Move Bitch to be the new bouquet toss song.
The bouquet with like, I don't know, the girl catching it and shoving another girl's face out of the way.
Yeah, this is like the slow-mo. This is what you're imagining. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a great one. Good. That's a great one.
I love it.
So we're dancing and we're dancing. I will say this about dancing timelines. Sorry, my headphones are driving me crazy today. I think that a maximum of 2 hours for dancing time is perfect. I will have people be like, that's not enough time. We want to party. We want to rage. Or our venue will allow us to dance for 4 hours, whatever. And like, I get it. You want to get the most bang for your buck out of your venue time and everything. But like, people will start getting drunk. Half your crowd's gonna leave because they just are.
They're just older.
Yeah, and it's a wedding. It's not a club. Like, go to an after party. Do whatever you need to do. But you want your wedding to end on like a high note and for the energy to feel good and not for it to be like your 6 ride or die friends will be there till the end if you have 4 hours of dancing.
Yes.
Great. But it's so not necessary. And I just think it really kind of kills the vibe at the end when it's not a high energy situation.
Yeah.
And that's not a good feeling.
Yeah. No, and I think I was the off chance that this happened, but for our wedding, I wanted to dance and I just wanted to keep going until the venue stopped. And I just didn't care who was still there or not. I know I loved the DJ. I loved the music. I was with the immediate friends and the immediate family that I knew would also enjoy this DJ.
Yeah.
We stayed. Like, he closed everything up. We were still going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was what we wanted.
Yeah.
But that's just my situation.
Totally.
I will say for most weddings, though, I would say, 2 hours is typically more than enough. It's more than enough.
Yeah. And I have seen crowds go to where I'm like, y'all aren't going to last. And then they fucking last. And I'm like, okay.
I
like,
was wrong.
Yeah.
I'll join you.
Yeah. It's all up to you. But I would say as a general rule of thumb, 2 hours is plenty.
Yeah.
An hour and a half is fine.
Yeah.
Don't stress too much. But if you want like a good dance party, like 2 hours seems to be the like sweet spot. So at the end of the night, this is also all on our timeline.
Yep.
What's happening at the end? It's the last dance. Are you doing a grand exit? Are you just going to Irish goodbye and get the fuck out of there? Have an exit strategy. Have it on the timeline. Figure it out. Do you have transportation coming? Are you walking to the bar next door? Are you calling an Uber? Whatever. It doesn't matter, but have a plan. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people when they were like, I don't know. I guess we'll just like grab a ride with my dad to get back to the hotel.
No.
I'm like, how is there no plan for this? You know? So
are you going to ride with anyone and you're going to choose dad?
Yeah.
Come on now. For real? I don't want to be making out with my dad in the front.
No. So yeah, we need to have a good plan. The vibe setting from the very beginning of the day till the very end, you want to think about that. Like, where are you going to want to be at the end? Maybe you want to be in a limo. Maybe you want to wander and stumble to the neighborhood bar. It doesn't really matter, but like think about that. And then typically at a venue, there's some logistics at the end of the night as far as the vendors breaking down and does your personal decor and gifts have to get out of there? What's the cleanup procedures? This can vary so much from venue to venue, but make sure you're asking those questions. Yeah. There are so many logistics. Like there are some venues that there's no trash on site. Is the caterer going to take all the trash in their truck? Are the linens coming back that night? Are rentals coming back? I mean, there's a lot that happens later on as well. So there's usually an hour. You're not usually there until the very end of the night.
This is all new to me.
I'm there at 1 a.m. while we're sweeping up, trash, and the rental people are there cleaning up. Usually an hour is plenty for strike is the term for it, for cleanup, but it could take longer if you're having a lot of like floral installations. If you had a ton of rentals coming in and all has to go out, it could easily take up to 2 hours to clean everything up at the end of the night. So,
because there might be a wedding the next day.
Well, most of the time with a venue, you're in and out that day though, right? They're not like, come back whenever and get your stuff. Like, no, you paid for this 12-hour period or whatever. So, just again, we want to think about this stuff early so we're not caught off guard when we're like, oh shit, I didn't pay the florist to come back for strike. Oh, the rentals are scared. This literally just happened. Like for my wedding, I'm doing this Saturday. It was the couple had told the rental people they could come back the next day. The venue doesn't allow that. It was a $1,500 mistake that could have been avoided had those conversations happened earlier. So it's looking at all those details. These are the not sexy details about wedding planning. You want to think about colors. You want to think about your friends and what they're going to wear. You want to think about what you're going to eat. But all of these, like who the fuck is taking home the trash and when is ice being delivered and all of this kind of stuff is super important in making the day a success.
Yes, 100%. 100%. We got through it.
I know.
Job. Cheers.
Thanks.
Fuck yeah.
That was a lot. Yeah. I feel like that was a lot of information. And again, we're talking relatively, specifically, but hopefully there was some kind of just general knowledge in there as well.
No, there's definitely knowledge that applies to almost every wedding. Yeah. But I do think we can absolutely have a guest in different cultural, different types of weddings where the timeline is very different. The 2-day, 3-day Desi weddings,
And we are going to have a downloadable PDF
yes,
of all of this information available on the website.
Give us your email, though.
You got to give us your email.
Give us your email.
That's the trade-off.
And follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Review, rate, subscribe.
Rate, subscribe. Give us your email.
You don't have to do all those things.
Yes, you do.
So visit the website because you will have this downloadable PDF that will have kind of like a sample timeline, and then it has some notes, like kind of all of this shit that I rambled on about for this time. And you can use that template to hopefully build your own.
And I think sooner or later, maybe sometime this year, we will try to get more downloadable things for listeners, viewers, subscribers. Yep. The whole shebang.
Downloadable things.
Yes. But this one is for free for you listening in.
If you give us your email, you rate, you subscribe.
Yes.
And you have to do it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
Yes. anything else. I don't post anywhere. Oh, like us on TikTok. Did you do TikTok yet?
No, there's no.
God damn it, Allie. Come on. You got TikTok. You got this.
Tune in soon for our TikTok once Allie actually makes the account. I think we did it.
Sweet.
Good job.
Okay.
Cheers.
Again.
See you next Tuesday.
Peace.